Welcome to another episode of Toot Your Own Horn Music Matters. Today I am here with the one and only Brian Fletcher. Hi, Brian.
Hi, how are you doing?
I'm doing great. I am so happy to have met you and so eager for you to share your story of how you chose your instrument and kind of what's happened along your journey.
Okay. So yeah, I played clarinet when I was a kid, probably up through, like sixth, seventh grade. And then like a fool, like many of us do, I dropped it. Decided not to play it anymore. I don't know why we do that. And then yeah, years and years went by. And I've always been a big fan of music. I mean, I love music. I've always been a collector. I collect records, I collect CDs, I collect musical instruments. And so when I got into my early 40s, I just decided that why don't I play any of these instruments instead of just collecting them? So I just decided I wanted to play. And the first thing I chose to try and play was a cello,
Oh,
which didn't work out for me. Stringed instruments don't seem to work for me. I would like to be able to play them, but yeah, it didn't really seem to work out. And I rented a cello for a little while, and then I decided, yeah, this is not for me. Maybe I should try. I used to play the clarinet. Maybe I should go back to playing the clarinet. And so I took the cello back and traded it in for a rental clarinet and brought it home and was able to start playing on that first day. So yeah, it just felt that the cello never felt right. It felt uncomfortable and heavy and it just, yeah. And then the clarinet, just right when I got it out of the case, it just felt right.
is there something that triggered you stopping and that triggered you starting? Like, is there something specific that happened on either end?
Um, I don't know if anything triggered me. I wonder about that too. So stopping, I did move around that time. So I went from like one junior high to the other. So we actually moved to an entirely different town.
Hmm.
Then when I went back to school for that junior high, I just never joined the band.
Oh,
And so I kind of, yeah, it's almost like I kind of left the past in the one city and started something new in the other city. And I wish I wouldn't have. I wish I would have kept going. And then, yeah, coming back to it, I mean, like I said, I've always been a huge fan of music. I went to school for history. And in any time I would write my history papers, I've always basically tried to write them on any kind of like music history. So I would always try to incorporate music into my learning, into my studies, and like different classical music, jazz music, popular music, anything I could. So yeah, just always listening to music and kind of being around music and stuff like that. And then yeah, I think that's kind of what got me back into it was just, you know, I don't know why I like music so much and I don't play it. So yeah.
that's pretty cool. And so now that you found the clarinet again, what's that been? What have you been doing with it? What has happened?
So yeah, so I started, yeah, like I said, maybe within like 8 to 9 years ago or so. And then just would play it and play it and play it and kind of, just playing around here and there, kind of learning a few things, this and that. Never really felt like I was totally getting better. I kind of looked for a couple of different music teachers and it never seemed to find, something that would click. And then my wife, who's a school teacher, was at work one day and she was talking to one of the parents from some of the kids she works with. And that person said something about clarinet. And my wife said, "Oh, you teach the clarinet?" And the lady said, "Yeah. Are you a student?" And she said, "No, but my husband is looking for a teacher." And so I hooked up with her maybe 7, 8 months ago. Uh, and it's been amazing. I mean, I think I've probably learned in that last 7 or 8 months more than I've learned in the last 10 years. And so, yeah, I'm playing like every day. I mean, when I first started with her 6 months ago, I was playing on a reed that was like a two. and not even able to really play like in the upper register or anything. And now I'm on, at 3.5, and am, traded in my student clarinet on a professional clarinet. And it's been amazing.
And are you playing in any groups, or do you just play for your personal enjoyment, or what's kind of your MO around that?
So I'm just playing right now, by myself, or with my teacher. So we've been doing like duets and stuff like that, and kind of working out different things. But my ultimate goal is to play in a group. My ultimate goal is, like, just a couple of days ago, I went to, my teacher played in the Northwest Wind Symphony, so we went and saw them, and then yeah. So when I'm sitting there, I'm thinking, like, that's what I want to do. I want to be up there with all the rest of the clarinet players, being able to play. So that's kind of my focus. I'm hoping, once I start to get a little more comfortable, and maybe squeaking a little less, then I could kind of get to that point. Um, yeah. So
What?
yeah, that's kind of my focus. Yeah.
Yeah. What do you do for your day job?
So I'm a circulation supervisor in the Hazelwood Library, at Olympic College. So yeah, I spend my days in the library, managing the books. So I'm in charge of the collection. So I do all the inventory and all the checkouts, and manage all the student workers, and kind of keep everything going. So yeah, organize the books and ship out books to other libraries, and yeah, so that's kind of an amazing thing too. Yeah, I've just been doing that for a couple of years.
That's awesome. So what's your routine? You come home from the library, and do you practice before dinner, after dinner? Like, what's kind of your like, how do you work that into your day?
So usually I play in the mornings, actually, because I don't start in the library until 10:30, 11 o'clock. So yeah, I usually get up in the morning, have coffee with the dog, and then yeah, and then go to work. Lately, there's been, I've kind of found a good. We have a music building, and so lately at night when I'm there and it kind of slows down, I tend to slip away now, to the ensemble room, where I kind of practice a little bit by myself, which is really nice because they have really nice acoustics, and all the music stands are set up, and so that's kind of what I've been doing as well. So getting a little extra practice in, at the library while I'm getting paid, which is great.
I was, as someone who's come back to it, what is it that you've noticed that you get the most out of from doing it?
Um, it's funny. I've actually talked to a couple of people about this, and I think one of the things I get the most out of is just, I especially when I'm doing lessons and stuff, is just being able to drown everything else out and just be able to focus on that. I think there's no other time during the day, during the week, whatever, where you're not thinking about other things. And especially when I'm taking lessons and stuff like that, and we're just sitting there and we're just working on different pieces, and talking about clarinet and talking about different things, you don't think about anything else. You're solely focused on that. No other thoughts come into my mind. And I think that's like the best thing I can have. Yeah. It's for me, it's like total meditation. And I get that a little bit with practicing. But definitely working with other people who are also playing, and when you're talking and stuff, I think that's the most satisfaction I get from that.
Is that something that you've had to work to focus to do, or did it come pretty quickly just from playing?
Um, I think I've had to work, yeah, to get the focus. Yeah. Uh, I wish it just came totally naturally. But yeah, I think it's definitely something I have to work on.
And what are the benefits for anyone listening thinking, "Oh, that's interesting. Somebody stopped for a really long time and has come back to it." Kind of what are the benefits, do you think, of learning to do that or participating in that kind of activity? Because you're not really playing with a group just yet, and you're independently doing it, so you're motivated to do so. So obviously you're getting a lot from that experience.
Yeah, I think it's just the sense of accomplishment. Even if you're playing by yourself, and to sort of have that goal to look forward to as well. So to have, you know, you're obviously, if I can keep being more accomplished and more accomplished, and then at some point get to the point where I can kind of be part of that community, I think that's definitely something to look forward to for me. I mean, right now, yeah, I'd love to do it right now. I'm not sure I'm ready. you know, maybe it'll take a little more, maybe not just accomplishment on my part, but maybe even a little bit of courage on my part to kind of get to that next step. But yeah, so I think anybody coming back to it, or even just picking it up for the first time, I think you're going to get that sort of sense of accomplishment and that, if you can play with the group, that sense of community, where, everybody's got sort of that same goal to kind of perform and, bring music to everybody, bring music to the world.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's an interesting perspective, because I think a lot of people just sometimes just jump right into ensemble. So the fact that you're disciplined enough to like just do it on your own is pretty remarkable, because sometimes they make fun of the people at the very end of the thirds. They'll say, "Oh, they don't practice at all," or maybe they've never learned to play, or things like that. And I think those people are fairly courageous for just jumping in and being willing to try, right? But you seem to want to set a bar before you do that, which is kind of interesting too.
Yeah. Yeah, and I don't know which the best way is. I guess it just depends on the person. Yeah, if I could find somebody to jump in, that actually might be a benefit to me. Maybe if I could get just a little bit better, and then find somebody that, playing in that group that might even, encourage me to raise that bar even higher. So
Yeah, I could see that it could be a little intimidating to not be sure if you're good enough, right, to be able to jump into an ensemble. And yet I think that a lot of community groups out there are very forgiving, and they really want to have community over perfection, or even sometimes over skill. Like they'll accept a fairly low bar, not because they wish people to play at a low level, but because that sense of community really helps people elevate everybody in the ensemble ultimately.
yeah, yeah. And it's kind of good. I mean, I was actually talking to my wife about that. The concert we watched the other day, and there was probably 7 clarinet players. So that's kind of nice too, because you can kind of hide amongst the many. you know, if you're not the central focus, that might also kind of give you a boost of confidence that you're like, okay, I'm with these other people, and maybe they sound a little bit better than me, but I can keep up with them and blend in. And so I think that would be good as well.
Yeah, and I think community groups, do you know if the group that you're thinking of, do they have auditions, or do they just accept anyone into the group?
Oh, I think there's a couple of groups around here. One in particular that I think basically just kind of accepts anyone. I think it's kind of a group where people kind of come and go. Like when you have the time, if you have the ability to kind of go in there and play. So it's got a lot of rotating members and stuff.
Mhm.
Uh, so yeah, that's definitely a possibility.
Yeah. Well, what kind of books are you working out of in your lessons?
So right now I'm working on the advanced method, the Rubank. Yeah. So that one, and then yeah, a couple of so I just picked up the another Rubank, the clarinet solos. So like yeah, different with piano accompaniment. That's another thing is my teacher works with a, a person who plays piano, and they do a lot of duets together. And so actually, I got this to kind of start working on um, some of those so that I could actually start playing with her. So not just doing a duet like 2 clarinets, but also doing duets, clarinet and piano. And so that's kind of a next step as well.
Nice. Do you play?
Yeah.
That's really nice. Do you play for your family, your wife? Do you ever do any unaccompanied stuff around a family gathering yet?
Yeah, I've actually played a couple of times for like parents and my wife and my daughter. My wife hears it a lot, so yeah, I get a lot of the tunes sort of stuck in her head. So she'll be out there doing dishes and stuff, and I'll hear her humming what I was just playing. So yeah, no, I do a lot of that because I'm trying to play constantly.
Mhm.
So
Well, she's very supportive. I met her at that event that you and I met at, and she's very supportive. And I think that also makes a difference, having
yeah.
someone who likes the way it sounds and wants to see their spouse succeed.
Yeah, yeah, and I mean, thankfully for her, she she's kind of helped me with like meeting people, and sort of giving me like encouragement to kind of get out there and, take the lessons and kind of keep going, and encourages me to practice, and, yeah, encourages me to spend money on all the different things. It's amazing how many things you actually have to buy. Um, so yeah.
Right. That's cool. Does she sing or play an instrument, or does she have been a music culture?
She played it as well, and she played all the way through like junior high, and I think into high school. So she played the cornet, and so I've actually been kind of bugging her a little bit to, I bought her a couple of music books and stuff, and I'm actually probably going to get her another mouthpiece because we actually have a cornet right there on the wall.
I
And
know.
so yeah, I'm trying to kind of get her because a lot of the music is the same, and so I'm kind of hoping that maybe at some point she'll start playing as well, and then we can kind of start doing duets together and stuff. I also have a friend that I work with who kind of a similar situation as me. She's a lot younger, but she played the violin, and she gave up the violin in fifth grade, and now she's in college, and she was talking about wanting to play the violin. And I actually have a couple of violins, just because I collect instruments. And so I just a couple months ago gave her a violin. So she's been starting to play, and she was, happy to play it, and said, okay, well, what do I owe you? And I said, you just need to learn how to play it so that we can do duets. I said, that's my payment. So as long as you can figure out how to play it, and then we can sort of play together, then that's all I need. So
That's amazing. It's sometimes what doesn't work in fifth and sixth grade works later.
yeah. Yeah. She says she knows. Yeah. She kind of feels like she still remembers the stuff that she played in fifth grade. So she thinks she's at a fifth grade level, but she's getting better. She was able to kind of pick it up and, play some songs and stuff, which is very similar to what I ended up doing.
Yeah.
That's kind of cool to see her be able to come back to that as well.
Yeah, well, that's the thing, is that you chronologically might be a certain age, but in terms of your playing development, you're right. You could be playing at a fifth or a 12th or at whatever level, and that's a normal process. So you can't judge the book by the cover. You have to go with the flow there.
Yeah, and as long as you're not getting discouraged, and you're just going to keep getting better and stuff. I think especially as you're older, you have a tendency to be able to, like it's like when you go back to school and you're older, you always tend to be a better student. Just because I feel like the older you get, maybe the more disciplined you are. So even with instruments, I think it's probably the same way.
I'm also probably a little more forgiving and a little less judgmental, hopefully, because you've taken some knocks and learned it doesn't help to beat yourself up. to
Exactly. Yeah. Yeah. I think it's a lot easier to fail a little bit, when you're older.
Yeah, and people really, I think you've spoken well to it, is that, you know, you're an adult beginner essentially coming back to it, and people around you enjoy hearing you play, obviously. So that's kind of fun.
Yeah. And I'm like you said, I'm hoping these like you said with the ensembles and stuff like that. I think that's everybody kind of has that same mentality of they just want to be welcoming and be happy to hear you play and stuff like that. So yeah, I'm definitely looking forward to getting to be a part of something like that soon.
Yeah. If somebody was listening to this and just thought, wow, that's a really cool story, what would you tell them to motivate them to try to pick up a wind instrument and try doing it right now?
I would just say, yeah, pick it up for the sense of community, the sense of accomplishment, just for the fun of it. I mean, it's so relaxing, it's so meditative. We have such stressful lives, and it's definitely a way to like sort of, check out, and just be able to focus on something. And yeah, I mean, and music is just so wonderful. I mean, just listening to music and playing music and, like I said, studying music. I think it benefits everybody. It's so rewarding, to just be able to, and you don't even have to have like a necessarily like a long-term goal. Just, playing it for yourself and just, being able to enjoy it. I would definitely encourage, and I do. I mean, I encourage everybody. Everybody at work knows I play the clarinet. Everybody at work knows that I collect instruments. I gave another coworker a guitar 2 days ago to take home and play around with. So, Yeah, I'm always trying to push music on people, and I'm always trying to, give them new things to listen to. Don't just listen to the popular stuff. We have a whole collection of classical and jazz CDs and stuff like that. And I'm always pushing that on the people as well. Like, listen to this stuff and you might hear something you like. And then, hey, you might think, you know what? I wonder if I could play that. Go pick up an instrument. Um, there's so many, obviously there's a lot of expensive instruments out there, but there's also cheap instruments. You could go to Goodwill auctions. I bought, the violin that I gave my coworker, I bought on a Goodwill auction for $10. There's not really that much of a barrier stopping anybody from playing. So
Yeah.
yeah,
It's a wind instrument. Somebody probably has to look at it because it's got a lot of pads. But yeah, and yeah, string instruments too. But the point is, there's a lot of ways to get started without spending.
yeah, exactly. Yeah, start on a recorder.
Yeah, for
Yeah,
sure.
yeah.
For sure, for sure, for sure.
And there's on, you can always go and rent one as well. For $20 a month or something. So
Well, there you go. You're proof. It doesn't matter where you start, it's where you wind up, right?
exactly. Yeah.